Hi friends, welcome back to CMS Creations. നമ്മൾ ചർച്ച ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് Ktet കാറ്റഗറി 3 പാർട്ട് 1 അഡോളസൻസ് സൈക്കോളജി തിയറീസ് ഓഫ് ലേണിംഗ് ആൻഡ് ടീച്ചിങ് ആപ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡിലെ ഒരു മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. നമ്മുടെ എക്സാം അങ്ങ് എടുത്തു. അപ്പോൾ എക്സാമിന് പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് നമുക്കൊരു ചെറിയൊരു മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റ് നടത്തി നോക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, നമ്മുടെ സൈക്കോളജിയുടെ മൂന്നാമത്തെ മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. സൈക്കോളജിയുടെ മറ്റു വീഡിയോസിന്റെ ലിങ്ക് ഒക്കെ ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷനിലുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വീഡിയോസ് കാണാവുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഇന്നത്തെ 80 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണെന്നുള്ളത് നോക്കാം. First one, which of the following is developmental disorder? Conduct disorder, autism, depression, phobia. Correct answer, autism. Adjustment mechanism in which individual tries to defend himself by blaming others for his own fault is projection, compensation, regression, repression. Projection. Kohlberg's theory is based on psychological development, moral development, social development, cognitive development. മോറൽ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ്. നമ്മളിതിൻ്റെയൊക്കെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനും അതിൻ്റെ ആൻസറും മാത്രമേ ഇപ്പോൾ നോക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷൻ കാണുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അതായത് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് വീഡിയോ കാണുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിൻ്റെ ലിങ്ക് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷനിലുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്കത് ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്ത് അങ്ങനെ കാണാം. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ എക്സാമിന് പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് നമ്മളൊരു ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു എക്സാം എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് എഴുതി നോക്കുകയാണ്. എത്രത്തോളം മാർക്ക് ഉണ്ട്, എത്രത്തോളം പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളതൊന്ന് അറിയാൻ. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ്, അതായത് ഓരോ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ്റെയും ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ലിങ്ക് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷനിലുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അത് കാണാവുന്നതാണ് ഓരോ വീഡിയോയും. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ്, എ ടീച്ചിങ് ടെക്നിക് എസ്പെഷ്യലി യൂസ്ഡ് ഇൻ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് pre-service education to train them teaching skills systematically is team teaching, micro teaching, models of teaching, shared teaching. A teaching technique especially used in teachers pre-service education to train them teaching skill systematically is micro teaching. A specific learning disability that affects reading and related language based processing skill can be called dysgraphia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. And that is dyslexia. The application of skills, knowledge and attitudes that were learned in one situation is transferred to another learning situation is called readiness, reinforcement, transfer of learning, principles of learning. The application of skills, knowledge and attitude that were learned in one situation is transferred to another learning situation is called transfer of learning. Which among the following is not a trait of gifted student? Unusual alertness, excellent memory and rapid learner, stupidity. Not a trait of gifted student വരുന്നത് gifted student trait അല്ലാത്തത്, and that is stupidity. Learning theory that focuses on reinforcement is Skinner's operant conditioning, Thorndike's trial and error, Pavlov's conditioning, gestalt theory. Learning theory that focuses on reinforcement is Skinner's operant conditioning. According to Piaget's sensorimotor stage, the objects continue to exist even when they are hidden from view. This is termed as assimilation, object permanence, visualization and accommodation. The objects continue to exist even when they are hidden from view, and this termed as object permanence. The psychosexual development theory is proposed by Carl Roger, Freud, Jung, Piaget. Freud. The humanistic model of hierarchy of needs was developed by Carl Rogers, Eric Berne, Abraham Maslow, Erikson. Abraham Maslow. The humanistic model of hierarchy of needs was developed by Abraham Maslow. Which of the following is not a learner-centered teaching strategy? Not a learner-centered teaching strategy. Cooperative learning, brainstorming, discussion, direct instruction. Direct instruction. It's not a learner-centered teaching strategy. Direct instruction is teacher-centered. Teacher directed teaching method. Teacher ingane direct instruction kodukkunnu. An unconscious process where painful experience, shameful thoughts, etc. are removed from conscious mind by pushing down them to unconscious mind. Regression, suppression, aggression, and repression. Option D, repression. National Curriculum Framework (NCF) was framed in 2004, 2005, 2003, 2009. 2005. Levin's field theory can be expressed by the formula F equal to B of PE, B equal to F of PE, F equal to LE, B equal to HE. Levin's field theory. That's B equal to F of PE. That is, behavior for B is a function, that means function means F, of the person and the environment. Levin's field theory express ചെയ്യുന്നത് behavior is a function of the person and the environment. B എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ behavior, F എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ function, P എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ person, and E എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ environment. Which of the following strategy is most suitable for inclusive education? Multisensory teaching, peer tutoring, cooperative learning, all the above. All the above. An act of the Parliament of India which describes the modalities of importance of free and compulsory education for children between the age of 6 to 14 years is NCF, KCF, RTE, PWD. RTE, Right to Education Amendment ലാണ് 6 to 14 yearsലുള്ള കുട്ടികൾക്ക് education compulsory ആക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. The influence of friends, especially of adolescence, and most often a major contributor to the initiation of substance abuse is peer pressure, group pressure, cohesion, intrapersonal relationship. Peer pressure. The personal and corporate rule that govern behavior within the context of a particular profession, balanced personality, emotional maturity, competency, professional ethics. Professional ethics. A good description of progressive teacher is follows traditional style of teaching, reservoir of content knowledge, allows flexibility in classroom, follows linear instruction. Allow flexibility in classroom. Chief exponent of social constructivism. Chief exponent of social constructivism. Vygotsky, Gagne, Piaget, Osbel. Vygotsky. Motivation comes from within the student or from factors inherent in the task being performed is called intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, a reinforcement, feedback. Intrinsic motivation. A system of school-based evaluation of students that covers all aspects of students' development. Continuous and comprehensive evaluation, formative evaluation, summative evaluation, product evaluation. കുട്ടികളുടെ എല്ലാ തരത്തിലുള്ള ഡെവലപ്മെന്റും വരുന്നത് and that is continuous and comprehensive evaluation CCE. Memory that follows recall for a period of several seconds to a minute without rehearsal is termed as sensory memory, short-term memory, long-term memory, episodic memory. Short-term memory. Which of the following is not a developmental task of adolescent? Not a developmental task of adolescent. Learning to get along with the friends of both sexes. Becoming more self-sufficient. Making decisions about marriage and family life. Grasping leads to other fine motor skills. Grasping leads to other fine motor skills. It's not a developmental task of adolescent. Behaviors are acquired through associations between stimuli and responses. The theory associated with this view is constructivism, cognitivism, behaviorism, gestalt theory. Behaviorism. Assessment that measures a student's performance based on mastery of specific set of skills. Criterion referenced, norm referenced, benchmark assessment, and diagnostic assessment. Criterion referenced. Which among the following is the least affecting factor in learning? Motivation, social status, intelligence, interest. Social status. The period during which the productive system matures can be termed as childhood, puberty, late adolescence, and adulthood. Option B, puberty. The addictive use of legal and illegal substances by adolescents is called delinquency, psychosis, neurosis, substance abuse. Substance abuse. Which stage is not involved in the memory process? Interference, encoding, storage, retrieval. Which stage is not involved in the memory process? Option A, interference. If past memories inhibit an individual's full potential to retain new memories, it is referred as retroactive interference, proactive interference, memory traces, and retrieval. Proactive interference. The ability to come up with new ideas through a mental process of connecting existing concepts, motivation, creativity, intelligence, interest. Creativity. The approach, which is not suitable for classroom management and academic engagement, encourage initiative, behavior reinforcement, build estimate for content, give corporal punishment. Excitement, oh sorry, excitement alla. Build excitement for content. And option D, give corporal punishment. That is the approach which is not suitable for classroom management and academic engagement. That is classroom management and academic engagement use ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്തത്. അതായത് punishment, corporal punishment കൊടുക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല, യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല. The individual's personality is the product of maturation and experience, learning and morality, heredity and environment, nature and learning. Heredity and environment. The individual personality is the product of heredity and environment. The study of perception and behavior from the standpoint of individual's response to configurational wholes is constructivism, cognitivism, conditioning, gestalt theory. Gestalt theory. According to Erick Erikson, the psychosocial development stage of adolescence is related to trust versus mistrust, intensity versus inferiority, ego identity versus role confusion, initiative versus guilt. Ego identity versus role confusion. The curriculum constructed by Kerala State, rooted on the ideas articulated in the National Curriculum Framework (NCF), is named as KCF 2007, KCF 2005, KSCF 2007, KSCF 2005. KCF 2007. Option A. According to Piaget, the cognitive process that manages how we take in new information and incorporate that new information into our existing knowledge is accommodation, assimilation, shaping, insight. Assimilation. According to Gagne's hierarchy of learning, which of the following does not focus on the cognitive aspects? Problem solving, principle learning, signal learning, concept learning. Option C, signal learning. Naturally occurring response in learning theory is called conditioned response, aversive response, unconditioned response, vigorous response. Unconditioned response. Option C. Kohlberg proposed a stage theory of social development, psychosocial development, cognitive development, moral development. And option D, moral development. Who is known as the father of inclusive education? Alan Bloom, Ovid de Crowley, John Dewey, Vygotsky. Ovid de Crowley. Lekshmi complains when her tall, thin glass of juice is poured into a short but wider glass. She tells her father that she now has less juice. Lekshmi has not yet grasped the principle of conversion, animism, egocentrism, constancy. Option A, conversion. Select the personality trait put forward by Albert. Primary, secondary, tertiary, cognitive, emotional, psychological, id, ego, superego, cardinal, central, secondary. Cardinal, central, secondary. The theorist associated with the concept attainment model is Jerome S. Bruno, David Ausubel, Jean Piaget, Vygotsky. Jerome S. Bruno. Sruthi is an 8th standard student. She has very high achievement score in all subjects except mathematics. She has some particular difficulty in doing addition, subtraction, division and multiplication. Here we can assume that she is having dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. And dyscalculia. Option C, dyscalculia. Select the most suitable technique to deal with dyscalculia. Occupational therapy, multisensory language approach, inductive approach, peer assistance using diagram. And option D, peer assistance using diagram. The name William Stone is closely associated with emotional quotient, multiple intelligence, intelligence test, intelligence quotient. Intelligence quotient. Teacher uses projective test for revealing the conscious, unconscious, aptitude, intelligence. Unconscious. Heuristic are mnemonics, problem solving technique, chunks, none of the above. Problem solving technique. Triple track plan is program designed for mentally challenged, socially disadvantaged, intellectually gifted, culturally deprived. Intellectually gifted. Writing the learner's response on the chalkboard is a sub-skill of non-verbal reinforcement, verbal reinforcement, questioning skill, and stimulus variation. Non-verbal reinforcement. Select the correct combination related to continuous and comprehensive evaluation, CCE. The develop cognitive psychomotor skill and to develop cognitive psychomotor skill and to make comparison between them, to determine social utility and to maintain desired standard of performance, to label the students and collect information continuously and record them. To mark the poor, intelligent, inefficient, and apply child-centered method of teaching. And to determine social utility and to maintain desired standard of performance. Select fourth stage of Gagne's hierarchy of learning: chaining, multiple discrimination, principal learning, and verbal association. നമ്മൾ ഇതിനു മുമ്പത്തെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പറിലും പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഗാഗ്നേസ് ഹൈറാർക്കി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് താഴെ നിന്നും മുകളിലോട്ടാണ്. ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം നമ്മളോട് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് ഏറ്റവും ഹയസ്റ്റ് എന്താണ് സ്റ്റേജ് ഏതാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ താങ്കൾ വീണ്ടും ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് ഗാഗ്നേസ് ഹൈറാർക്കി ഓഫ് ലേണിംഗ് ഫോർത്ത് സ്റ്റേജ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സ്റ്റേജ് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് പഠിച്ചിരിക്കുക. സിഗ്നൽ ലേണിംഗ്, സ്റ്റിമുലസ് റെസ്പോൺസ് ലേണിംഗ്, ചെയിനിങ്, വെർബൽ അസോസിയേഷൻ, discrimination learning, concept learning, and rule learning, and the option D, verbal association. That is the fourth step. Expand IEDC, integrated education for disabled children, individualized education for disabled children, integrated education for disadvantaged children, individualized education for disadvantaged children. Integrated education for disabled children. Piaget used the term schema to refer the cognitive structure underlying organized pattern of behavior, experience, operations, concept. When was KCF formed? 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. 2007. Select the term used by Albert Bandura to refer to the overall process of social learning: conditioning, efficacy, reinforcement, modeling. And modeling. Option D. Then, before the athletic race, John says to his coach, "I know I can do well in this race." This is the example for John's self-efficacy, overconfidence, self-boosting, intrinsic motivation. Self-efficacy. NCF 2005 proposes the evaluation system should be based on marks, grades, both mark and grades, none of the above. Grades. NCF 2005 proposes the evaluation system should be based on grades. Which answer best describes the creative thinking? Product of convergent thinking, product of divergent thinking, product of reasoning, and product of metacognitive thoughts. Product of divergent thinking. When we make use of money experiences and examples for arriving at a generalized principle or conclusion, it is known as inductive reasoning, hypothetic deductive reasoning, transitive reasoning. Inductive reasoning. You look at the picture for several seconds and then close your eyes tightly. You attempted to visualize the picture of that you viewed. Here you try to utilize the visual sensory memory, which is named as echoic memory, iconic memory, semantic memory, long-term memory. Iconic memory. The MMPI is used to assess memory, intelligence, personality, and creativity. The MMPI used to assess personality. The best remedy of the student's problem related to learning is suggestion for hard work, supervised study in library, suggestion for private tuition, diagnostic teaching. Diagnostic teaching. In Erikson's model, the key challenge of young adulthood is, in Erikson model, the key challenge of young adulthood is trust versus mistrust, intimacy versus isolation, identity versus role of confusion, and option D, integrity versus despair. And adulthood lo varunathu intimacy versus isolation. Choose correct one which does not belong to the category of basic needs. Food and water, water and rest, food and safety, rest and safety. Does not belongs to the category of basic need, that is food and safety. Choose the most appropriate combination from the list of teacher maturity: dependent, subordinate position, limited behavior, deep interest. Active, limited behavior, long-term perspective, subordinate position, active, so superordinate, okay. Active, subordinate position, deep interest, long-time perspective, shallow interest, short-term perspective, passivity, independence. And the correct answer, option C. Which of the following is not a gestalt principle? Law proximity, law disuse, law closure, law pragnance. And the correct answer, option B, law disuse. According to Freud, the structure of psyche are ego, id, and superego, unconscious, subconscious, and conscious, oral, anal, and phallic, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Correct answer, option A, ego, id, and superego. According to Thurston, how many primary mental ability are there? 5, 6, 7, 8. And the correct answer, option C, 7. Choose the correct one for ECCE, education for creative children with a exceptionalities, education of creative children and empowerment, early childhood care for exceptional, early childhood care and education. And ECCE stand for early childhood care and education. Anida is friendly, always willing to help others and compassionate. While considering Gagne's theory, it can assume that Anida has high intrapersonal intelligence, existential intelligence, spatial intelligence, interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence. The third stage of creative thinking is option A, thinking, and option B, incubation, and option C, illumination, and option D, verification. That is illumination. Stages were again first one, preparation of stage, incubation of stage, illumination of stage, evaluation of stage, verification of stage, and third stage, that is illumination of stage. Illumination stage. Imagine you are bicycling in a race. Which of the following is the best example of an extrinsic motivation for this activity? Option A, biking to enjoy the fresh air. And option B, raising money for charity you believe in. And option C, crowds cheering when you get a trophy. And option D, to increase your health through exercise. ഒരു എക്സ്ട്രിൻസിക് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നു നമ്മൾ റൈസിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ. Obviously, and that is crowds cheering when you get a trophy. അതാണ് നമുക്കൊരു എക്സ്ട്രിൻസിക് മോട്ടിവേഷൻ ആയിട്ട് കൂടുതൽ എന്താ പറയുക ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. The organization NCSE set up to improve the delivery of education services through inclusive education stand for National Council for Special Education, National Council for School Education, National Council for Social Education, National Committee for Science Education. And option A, National Council for Special Education. What is the most important for a teacher? To maintain discipline in class, to be punctual in class, to remove the difficulties of student, to be a good orator. And option C, to remove the difficulty of students. Which of the following is not a defense mechanism? Defense mechanism allathathu. Option A, generalization and projection, aggression and reaction formation. And the correct answer, option A, generalization. And final question, select the correct one according to Skinner. Punishment can strengthen the behavior. Punishment can reinforcement are the same. Behavior cannot be modified. Behavior is innate. And the correct answer, option A, punishment can be strengthen the behavior. Okay, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നും ഒരു സൈക്കോളജി ടീച്ചിങ് അഡോളസൻറ്റ് സൈക്കോളജി ആൻഡ് തിയറീസ് ഓഫ് ലേണിംഗ് ആൻഡ് ടീച്ചിങ് ആപ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡിൽ ഒരു 80ഓളം ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് നമ്മളിന്ന് ചെയ്തു. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഏകദേശം 3 മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റോളം ചെയ്തു. 3 മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റിലും 80 വെച്ച് 324 240ഓളം ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ കവർ ചെയ്തു. ഈ 240 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസിൻ്റെയും വീഡിയോസ് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് വ്യൂയുടെ ലിങ്ക് ഞാൻ ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷനിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതായത് 6 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പറാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തത്. 6 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പറിൻ്റെയും സെപ്പറേറ്റ് വീഡിയോസ് ഉണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുമായിട്ടും ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ വരുന്ന 2 ദിവസത്തിനുള്ളിൽ നമ്മുടെ എക്സാമാണ്. എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്നായിട്ട് എഴുതാൻ കഴിയട്ടെ, എല്ലാവരും നല്ല മാർക്കോട് കൂടി ക്വാളിഫൈ ചെയ്യട്ടെ, എല്ലാവിധ വിജയാശംസകളും നേരുന്നു. ഈ വീഡിയോ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമായെങ്കിൽ ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, കമൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക. ചാനൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. നിങ്ങളുടെ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങൾ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും കമൻറ്റിലൂടെ അറിയിക്കുക. ആൻഡ് താങ്ക് യു ഫോർ വാച്ചിങ് ദിസ് വീഡിയോ and wish you all the best for your exam, and see you next video as soon as possible. Okay, bye bye.